You're listening to Birds Coast to Coast. Here's your host, John Clark and Tanner Riddle.
All right, welcome everyone to episode 26 of Birds Coast to Coast. I'm your host, John. Below me, we have Tanner, our co-host, and joining us today is our NFC South correspondent, John Rous, the Student Power Club former president, the man, the myth, the legend, the man who we have all of his first-round picks in Dynasty, and it came at the short price, the small price of all of our best players. Welcome, John. Thanks for coming on today.
Oh, well, thank you guys for having me, and thank you for the players that have earned me a decent amount of money the last few years. So the pleasure's all mine.
Of course, and we appreciate the 12th overall pick.
Yeah, I'm not as grateful. The pick that I can't get rid of.
No, our Dynasty League tends to seep into this podcast often, and usually my fault, honestly, all the players I'm keeping up with. But all right, guys, so we're here for the NFC South episode. We've been making our way each week, talking about each division, having fun doing it, bringing on people, some friends that we know are fans of those teams. Today, we got a Panther fan named John Rous, and he's here to talk about Panthers. He's here to talk about the NFC South and a little bit about how he became a fan and give that expert insight that we know a good Panther fan can provide. So, John, thanks for coming on. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became a Panther fan, man.
Yeah, man. So I became a Panthers fan because the Panthers came to North Carolina in 1995, and lo and behold, this little guy came out of the womb in 1996. So I felt like I really didn't have much of a choice after that, but it's been fun, man. I'm one of those guys that tends to really align myself with, the state teams, the hometown teams and whatnot. So in terms of fandom, I love the Carolina Panthers, for better or for worse. So the other team that is in the same city, the Charlotte Hornets, that are making some moves lately. So that's been fun to see. Obviously living here in Raleigh, we are proud to represent the Carolina Hurricanes. So that's been a fun time being a sports fan. And then, I think the one thing that we all have in common is being ECU Pirates. So, that ebbs and flows, but, at the end of the day, being a sports fan might be one of the hardest things to do. And being a Panthers fan has certainly had its ups and downs, but, reigning NFC South Division champs, here we are. So great showing in the playoffs. I couldn't be prouder to be a Panthers fan, and certainly looking forward to what's happening, what's going on in the offseason, and get into it with you guys for what we have to look forward to. So life is good. It's weird to say that as a sports fan for the first time in my life.
Did you happen to go to the Actually, wait a second. Did your timeline line up where you could go to the Hurricanes parade, or were you out of town for the World Cup?
Guys, did not get a chance to go and see the couple 100,000 people celebrating in Raleigh, and fortunately, we had the luxury of being at the FIFA World Cup, watching the USA win a game and be part of those festivities. So there was a trade-off, right? Mm-hmm. But when the parade is literally on the same block as where you live, it makes it a little frustrating. FOMO certainly, definitely kicks in for that. But, beggars can't be choosers. We got to enjoy a few watch parties, going a few games this year, saw the team. I mean, hey, that was awesome. And then on to football season. So you boys ready? I know we just got done watching a thrilling football match. And so, this is a great time of year. I mean, you got the World Cup. You're gearing up the offseason for NFL. Training camp will be here before you know it. Summer, it's beautiful. Life is good.
It has been beautiful. For those who've been keeping track at home, I don't know if Rous, you knew, but I've been doing the run to 100 followers on TikTok. And for those who are wondering, we're at 99. So when you said that beautiful weather, I remember getting up at 6 a.m. this morning and getting
Actually, we have some breaking news on that.
Wait, what is it?
We're at 103.
Whoa.
Oh! All right. Looks like I'm going to be running for...
My burners finally followed you guys. Perfect.
100-minute run tomorrow. I'm already gotten it scheduled in.
103. Don't cheat us out.
No, I'm not doing 103.
104 after the next couple followers. Here we go.
Because if I wake up and there's 120 followers, I'm going to be very upset. So I'm not running for 2 hours. No, I actually ended up running like 7 miles today. So
what if instead of running, you just did like 120 hot dogs, since you are the Joey Chestnut of Clayton?
Thanks for bringing that up. And yes, I am. But dude, I ate like 3 hot dogs in like 2 minutes yesterday. It was insane. Like I remember I was finishing off some like reheated hot dogs on the grill from like the day before when we cooked out, and I ate like a couple of them really quickly, and I was like, damn, I'm already done. Like, and I was like, well, I do have a knack for this. And I was thinking to myself, after, I'm not even kidding, I finished eating those and I looked up and I was like, hot dog eating contests Clayton. Turns out they haven't marketed their new event. It was in the middle of July and they haven't put anything out, the place that did it last year at the Draft House in Clayton. But I don't know. It looks like there's not going to be a second one. So I think this trophy is probably going to stand, guys. I think I'm just going to be.
That trophy's going to be worth something one day.
Yeah, I'm the only winner. I'm the first and only champion of Clayton hot dog eating contest. So I'm happy. But I remember me and Tanner were in. Tanner came down to Holly Springs, and there was a Holly Springs festival happening, and we were just walking down the street with all the vendors, and there was like a big crowd in the middle of the intersection. I was like, "What the hell's happening over there?" Right? And I kind of peeked over, and I saw some people, and I saw like these like I guess women like kind of holding up fingers, like they're counting something. And I kept hearing the song like a hot dog song playing in the background. I was like, "Oh hell no! They're holding a hot dog eating contest, and they didn't reach out to me." And it turns out the guy who won, like that contest ended really quickly. Like we sat
like
there.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I was like, wow, they ended that quick. And I was like, was that 10 minutes? It didn't feel like 10 minutes because mine was 10 minutes. And the guy was like, the guy who won's like, I ate 10 hot dogs or something. And I was like, that's not a bad number. I had 8. So I mean, that's a respectable number. And then I was like, wait a second, that was 10 hot dogs in 5 minutes. I had 8 hot dogs in 10 minutes. So I would have embarrassed myself. So pretty glad I didn't show up to that or know about it because it would have been embarrassing because my hubris would have signed me up for it. I'd have been like, nah, I'm doing this. And I would have got my butt kicked. But it's all good. That trophy still stands.
Completely avoided all embarrassment.
Yep. Completely. And it was a hot day. That was a hot day. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with the Panthers, guys. Enough about all my hot dog shenanigans. But
I want to keep talking about your wieners.
Yeah. Yeah, the Panthers last year, they were a very interesting team because, man, coming off that previous year, there were a lot of questions about Bryce Young. And I guess I just kind of noticed that like the fan base was like at like a precipice with him, along with like the fact that they just couldn't, support him and keep him protected. But I really found myself cheering for that. And I don't really root for like a lot of other teams other than the Eagles, but like I really did find myself kind of like hoping the Panthers would do well, especially towards the middle and end of last year, just because like how they kind of like hunted down the other teams. And look, the Saints were getting so much hype, the Falcons were getting a ton of hype, the Buccaneers were getting a ton of hype, and then here comes the Panthers just steadily chugging along, and I was like, you know what? Upset their asses. Let's see what happens. And they did. And I was so excited. So what happened, dude? How'd you feel about your season last year?
Well, I mean, we kind of backdoored our way into the playoffs.
No, I know. I mean, it wasn't pretty. I didn't say it was pretty.
Oh, hey, it doesn't have to be. All you'll see is another mark for NFC South division champs. And it was cool, man. I think it was after how the season started, 0-2, losing to the Jags, losing to the Cardinals. It was that was pretty tough. I bounced back against the Falcons, so that was good. And then it kind of went back and forth. It felt like couldn't really stack some wins until we played the Dolphins, Cowboys, and Jets. So I mean, like it was a decent season. I think we did better than I expected going into it, especially by pulling out and winning the division. But I will say, I think, going into this next season, I'm pretty pumped. Dan Morgan, I really like him as a general manager, especially, having that Panther blood run through him, like as a former player, as just a dog on the football field. I mean, this guy kind of knows what it takes to be successful in the National Football League. And so I trust him. Having a guy like Brant Tillis working behind the scenes too, managing a lot of the cap space, contracts, helping negotiate with the agents, I think is a great asset, especially as he's interviewing for the head shop jobs and stuff like that. So all in all, John, answer your question. I mean, I felt great with how the season ended, but I'm honestly feeling even better with how the offseason's going, and I'm pretty hyped and pumped for for next season. Season didn't end the way that I would have liked as a Panthers fan, but gave it to the Rams, took it to the fourth quarter, ended the season on a little bit of a losing streak, but I think still you can put a cap on the season thinking that you got your quarterback, keep building around him, and plug some holes on defense, and there's no reason why this team couldn't go back-to-back and win the division again.
Tanner, being an NFC West fan, did you find it surprising that the Rams were having such issues with the Panthers?
Well, it's funny, Rous, you mentioned how the Panthers played the Cardinals early in the year. I actually went to that game. That was our home opener. I don't know if you remember, but it wasn't looking pretty for the Panthers in the beginning. And classic Cardinals, we let you guys back in, and it came down to the final drive. I think Calais actually got a game-sealing sack to end that game. No business for that game being that close at the end, given how the first three quarters went. But yeah, we started the season on the road with the Saints and home to the Panthers. And when the schedule came out, I thought, wow, I think we might be playing the two worst teams in the league. So when you talked about your expectations for the Panthers last year, personally, I think you guys far exceeded it. I thought you guys were going to have a top 5 pick type season. And I know you guys snuck into the playoffs. You still won 8 games. That's almost triple the amount that the Cardinals won. So, from an expectation standpoint, I think you guys far exceeded it. I was also real hesitant on Bryce Young. I had a lot of skepticism with him. It felt like you guys are probably going to be interested in this most recent quarterback draft. Just, I don't know. I wasn't a big believer. I think he's in a really unique situation. So they picked up his 5th-year option, right?
Yeah.
So this isn't necessarily a make or break year, but I thought there was kind of some fair arguments that maybe they don't pick up that option. And then it truly would have been a make or break year. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Dave Canales give up play calling duties? Yeah,
no, he definitely did, which is crazy.
That's a weird move to me, given the direction. You're on an upward trajectory. This you gave the Rams a run for their money. And I think we all know why John was rooting for the Panthers, because he didn't want to face the Rams later in the playoffs. There's always something to his.
No.
He has no idea where all the Saints hype came from, but ask him who his quarterback is on his fantasy team. That might be reveal a little bit of that. But
hey, shuck you, Tanner. Shuck you.
The Panthers they're an interesting team because I don't know what to do at quarterback. I think it was probably the right move. Pick up the 5th-year option. You got an answer for the next 2 years. I do like the roster overall, though. They went big with Jalen Phillips.
Huge.
I know we got.
Oh yeah,
we got some haters on this podcast. I know of that signing.
I'm
and forth
very excited. Very excited when he signed for that amount of money. The comp pick will be
with someone else.
Very excited that money was spent on Jalen Phillips.
I think the division as a whole, maybe I don't want to get too far ahead, but I can see anybody winning this division.
No, definitely 3 out of 4 teams were 8-9, right? And it came down to one team beating another team to let the other team in, but then the other 2 teams were playing each other for a chance.
It was a Saturday game, right? Wasn't the Panthers Buccaneers a Saturday game?
Saturday, yeah.
And then the other 2 were Sunday.
Yeah, which didn't make any sense. So we're watching the winner of that game. Panthers just have to beat the Saints and they're in, and then they lose. So then you have, Falcons versus the Buccaneers, and Panthers owe the Falcons a lot. Beating the Rams for one, that was crazy. Just a game that should not have happened for the Bucs.
Oh, I remember that. That's right.
Steal the playoffs. Yeah, and then they go down there and got to play the Bucs. Or no, wait, what was it? No, the Panthers played the Bucs and then lost to the Bucs, and then the Saints played the Falcons.
And the Falcons won. Yeah.
The Falcons beat the Saints. Yeah. Falcons beat the Saints to get to 8-9 to force the tiebreaker, which they had over Tampa, which we had over the Falcons.
Right. It's just funny how you lost. It's funny how you guys lost that last game, but it didn't cost you just because tiebreakers we're just in your favor.
Sunday fun day, man. Football. Can't wait for football.
So what do you think?
But yeah,
John?
I mean they were pretty busy in free agency. I think.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it wasn't just Jalen Phillips. They signed Devin Lloyd from
the
Jacksonville,
linebacker.
right?
Yeah, he's
Yeah. Kenny Pickett, Super Bowl winning quarterback. So that's
Yep.
nice
Right.
to have in that quarterback room. Filled out some depth on the offensive line. So, I mean, I think really, guys, take my fandom out of this. If I'm looking at, what do the Panthers need to do to maintain success, but not just maintain. I mean, let's get above 500. Let's have a great season and build off of this momentum. If you would have told me in the offseason prior to any of these additions, I would have said, get another edge rusher, a guy that can, be a freak and replace kind of the void that you've had without having a Brian Burns there like you've had, previously. Plug in some holes, have some guys that can go right next to Derek Brown. Give Bryce Young another weapon and give him an offensive tackle that is not Ike Ekwonu. And I think you got that with Monroe Freeling. So,
Wait, is Ike not good?
He's not healthy at the moment.
I know he's not healthy. Yeah, he had a late season injury.
Is he not good? I think he has had a good season, but in my personal opinion, I have not seen much of him to be, continue to be the starting left tackle for the Carolina Panthers.
I mean, they made moves. They signed Rasheed Walker, who, again, is he replacement level? Probably. But, to get a guy, I think he started every game with the Packers last year. I mean, there's some value in that. And then they drafted Monroe Freeling, who, my understanding, he's kind of he's like a, mold of clay, high upside. He's got all the traits. He probably could be elite maybe by late year 2, year 3 type. So, I mean, they made a lot of moves to replace Icky. I guess I just didn't really realize there's still enough questions with him.
Yeah. I mean, being hurt, certainly doesn't help. Losing both of those centers was that was pretty tough, right? But, I think at the end of the day, this is still a very young team. And, if you look at the division as a whole, I truly think it's going to be anyone's game again this year. I just don't see much difference between the 4 teams. And again, I really think all 4 of these teams have made moves that was necessary in order to be competitive. I think this is going to be one of those divisions where it's going to be a dogfight, but you're probably going to see a 9-win team get in the playoffs again because they just have to beat each other up. So, I'm optimistic. We'll see, but I know I think the only hesitation is what Tanner brought up, and that was Brad Izzik never called plays before in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Dave Canales is this, QB whisperer between Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, Bryce Young. And then all of a sudden, after the first year of success, making it to the playoffs with his quarterback, picking up his 5th-year option, you're all of a sudden, giving the guy who's talking to him in the headset over to someone else. So that's a question mark, but, obviously this happened for a reason. I don't think, Dave Canales is going to make that move if he doesn't feel like maybe Izzik can do better than he can. So I don't know what's going on in those coaches' meeting rooms, but I'm certainly excited to see what happens week 1.
Here's a question. Say Bryce Young isn't the guy you think, or isn't the guy who we hope he becomes. He doesn't take that next step forward, and say you guys finish with a 6-10 season. Even though you guys picked up that 5th-year option, this is a really strong quarterback class. Would you see you guys being interested in taking a quarterback in next year's class and just kind of punting the Bryce Young experiment? Or would you just keep going and try to make it work and hope that he figures it out in the 5th year?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think if you look at it in terms of if this was a different quarterback with a different name and a different profile, maybe it's a little bit different, right? Mm-hmm. And I say that just because of a size factor. And that's the only thing that I think kind of would hurt Bryce Young not making it to that next side. Mm-hmm. That kind of, I guess, getting re-signed after having a poor year is he like a Josh Allen that's, a freak of nature, he is balling out, right? Or has at least the tangibles or I guess athletic capabilities or traits to get you to that next level. You just got to work on a few things. No, Bryce Young is 5'11" at best. He's 190 pounds soaking wet. And, he is money with the football. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, is that someone that you truly want to build your football team around when you look at the average, size and then success of other quarterbacks in their teams? I think, John, that does kind of point you towards, okay, well, if we have any question that Bryce Young isn't the guy, then you certainly have to attack one of the 20 quarterbacks that are in this draft class, right? And just, hope that you get the right one. So we'll see. I mean, I have faith that Bryce Young is the guy and can be the guy. He's shown it. I think he is molding himself into, a top end starting quarterback in this league, or at least one of the best 32 that you'll see out there. And I mean, his numbers show it. He is very accurate. He is good. He just, I think you just need to do two things. You need to continue to invest around him, both on the offensive line and with weapons. And this team is continuing to do that. And last year when he had a somewhat competent line before you started to see some injuries, I think he's shown that he can be that guy. So, long-winded way to say if Bryce Young isn't good, they go to the draft. But if he can continue to show that he's a starting quarterback, you re-sign him. You don't give him top-end money, but you give him Daniel Jones, Malik Willis type money, and just continue to invest in defense and offensive weapons.
No, yeah, I really liked what they did with getting him Tet, and it looks like the running back that you guys had a few years ago, Jonathan Brooks.
Jonathan Brooks is healthy. Yeah,
I heard he's healthy. I heard he's looking good in camp. That's going to be exciting to see. It might be a late season fantasy pickup, or maybe even earlier fantasy pickup. I know they got
whoa.
Hey now, hey now. Oh, but no, I'm excited for Bryce Young. He kind of reminds me of I don't know if he has the arm talent of a Russell Wilson, but I remember he was giving the Eagles heck on the 2024 season up in Philly, where you guys almost won, but Leggett dropped the ball at the goal line. And man, that last drive, I mean, when the game comes down to the wire, he can be electric and really hard to tackle, again, like a Russell Wilson. And it wasn't shocking to hear that when he made the top 100 list a couple of weeks ago, the yearly NFL top 100 list, a lot of people were like, oh my God, Bryce Young's on it. Blah, I can't believe he's on it. But there was a stat on there that I found to be pretty interesting, and I could see it. Apparently over the last 2 years, he's top 3 in the league in game-winning drives. He's got a clutch gene. I could see it. I mean,
True. But I'll also say, when you only have 19 wins in your career and a majority of them
they're all going to be close.
They're all going to be close. Yeah.
But I mean, you're right. I mean, you look back at college, he definitely has that clutch gene in him. I think he lost a lot of confidence after his first year in the league. Wake up call, incompetent owner, general manager, head coach, just a lot of toxicity within the organization. So he's gone through his growing pains, and I think he's coming out the other side. And, he may not be a top 5 quarterback in the league, but I think Bryce Young certainly has the talent and the composure to be a top half of the league quarterback that, he's not going to be maybe win an MVP, but he's going to be helping your team hopefully, continue to win a division and be in the talk. And I think with the NFC South, it's such a competitive division. Well, I mean, for the last few years, probably hasn't been with Tampa Bay, but it's going to be a dogfight. Like I said, I mean, the Falcons are good; they're getting better. Buccaneers, I think they're digressing or regressing. They're going downward. Is the point that I'm trying to make. Saints are going up, so we'll see. But I really like Chris Brazzell. I think getting that guy in the 3rd round was a steal. I mean, that dude is an electric playmaker. Jalen Coker, he's a stud. And then
he was just re-signed, right, or extended?
He was, undrafted free agent out of Holy Cross. So that was cool. And then I mean, I'm pumped. Screw it, man. That's what football is all about. It's false confidence and being overly optimistic. So I'm down. Let's go. Panthers back to back.
To make more Cardinals connections, there were a lot of lazy takes about Bryce Young coming into the NFL, during the draft. And honestly, their only comparison was really the height. I mean, just from a physical build, like Kyler was much thicker. I mean, like you said,
Yeah.
Bryce Young's like 190 soaking wet. I mean, Kyler is like kind of like a tree stump. Kyler had elite athleticism. I don't think I saw that with Bryce Young. I even think Kyler's arm was probably a little bit more live, more strong. But clearly, why? So it's like, well, then why the heck did Bryce Young go first overall? I think it's because it's the accuracy and the anticipation. I mean, if you have to overcome all that other stuff, like how the heck could you, even at Alabama, how could you have success if you have everything else going against you? And I mean, he definitely has that ability to anticipate and like throw guys open.
You forgot to highlight Kyler's Call of Duty skills too, man. I mean, I think he takes the cake on that one compared to Bryce Young. I don't think Bryce is playing many video games these days.
They're stick skills, man. They're
well, let's see the contract. Let's see if it's required for him to or not.
But yeah, no, I think you're not wrong, Tanner. But I think the one thing that certainly separates Bryce Young from the rest of the group is going to be his cognitive skills and just overall arm strength and accuracy. I mean, I think. Obviously this podcast isn't a statistics-based podcast, but, if we were, I'd pull out a stat out of my butt and it's going to be mostly accurate. We're pretty sure like first couple of years, I mean, Bryce Young has put the ball on the money when it comes to, passing to his receivers and the expected catch percentage. His receivers just drop the ball and they're just not catching it, or the contested catches and they're just not coming down with it. So that gives me hope. And he also, I mean, too, had like one of the fastest, I guess, release times, or I guess needing to release the ball because his offensive line wasn't blocking worth a shit. So, I mean, it's one of those things, guys, where I really feel like, you continue to build a good offensive line and give them guys that can come down with the football like a Tedderota McMillan or a Jalen Coker or what I've seen with Chris Brazzell in college. And I think you got a pretty good football team.
Well, that's why they invested in wide receivers so much. I mean, I know he hasn't worked out, but like first round pick and Xavier Leggett, T-Mac, in the top 10.
Hey, John Mechie,
like,
his former receiver at Alabama, is going to be on the team. We'll see if this guy is.
They're trying. Yeah.
We'll see. John Mechie wasn't that bad for the Eagles. You kind of had a cup of coffee with us. All right, let's. We're all trying to tie it back. But no, so I'm excited for the Panthers. John, what do you think the realistic win ceiling for you guys are?
I think let's look at the schedule this year, guys. Let's run through this real quick because, just as a fan, I'm going to say 9-10 wins without even having going through this. But let me play the quick little win-loss game while I'm looking at this. Oh, win.
That's what we like to hear.
Bye week win. Eagles win.
There we go.
They're playing a first place schedule. Realistically, guys, I think this team could go anywhere from 17-0 to maybe anywhere around 6-11.
There we go.
Somewhere in between that.
Just a very narrow, very narrow pattern there. Right there, just right anywhere between. That's the worst team in the 07 Patriots.
At least they got the Bears at home to start the year. That being on the road, I'd feel a little bit different about. But I think you start maybe 3-0. Maybe the Falcons' first home game, maybe a little different. So maybe 2-1. You're playing Lions at home. Lions are, had to take a step back. Best case, if you can get to the bye week 5 and you're 2-2, I mean, hey. You got to play the Eagles. That should be a nice little dub on the road.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it should be good.
Who do you consider your biggest rival? Is it the Falcons? Like, if you could beat one team in the division.
That's a great question. I wouldn't know.
Thank you.
I mean, we live here, so I mean,
the Bucks have had the Bucks have had the recent success. What, like 5 or so divisions in a row? Like.
Bucks make a lot of sense.
The Saints had a big
honestly,
run.
I mean, in Atlanta from proximity, but I mean, I think the Saints are the team that most teams probably want to beat in that division. I mean, go back to the Bounty Gate stuff. Go back to, there's New Orleans, right? You got some rowdy fans. They live and breathe football, deep South. But, the Falcons, that's Atlanta. I'm not really worried about that. that market or that fan base. But I do think, I mean, it would make sense for the Buccaneers. I mean, personally speaking, as a fan, I would view probably the Bucs or the Saints as that rival. I've been to a handful of Panthers games, and they've been the Buccaneers, and they've been back and forth, both with Jameis Winston and then with Tom Brady too. So now you have Baker Mayfield, a former Panther, so kind of feels like somewhat of that revenge a little bit, even though he'd probably say otherwise. So,
So not the Falcons.
Not the Falcons. No, no one.
Do they even exist?
Hardly. With Bijan Robinson, I think that helps make them somewhat relevant. But outside of him, I couldn't probably tell you another player on that team. I mean,
Kyle Pitts.
Exactly. I haven't really heard of him that much.
The Falcons are basically just a fantasy football team storage holder position. Like, hey, here's some good players on this team, and this is where they play football.
Look what you could
Drake
have.
London. Here's Kyle Pitts. Here's Bijan Robinson. But other than that, we're going to give you 2 lefty quarterbacks that we still don't know who's going to start for us, and decent defense. But again, we're the Atlanta Falcons, so we're without Matty Ice, we're probably not going to be that relevant.
I feel like if we're going to talk about the Falcons this much, let's just go on to the Falcons. Let's just make that the next team we're going to talk about. So I don't see a reason why not. The Falcons were a team that kind of finished in that 3-way tie last year, but I don't believe they were ever truly were they ever
they won their last 4.
Yeah. So they were kind of not really in it for the division. Honestly, they kind of just had to play spoiler. Was that kind of correct? That was their only kind of role in that tie, was just playing spoiler for the other team.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Very interesting that they started so poorly. And again, they're so weird because, again, they got such good weapons on offense, man. You want to talk about a trio of Bijan, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts? You might be able to stack that trio against any other
top 5. Yeah.
Top 3. I mean, you want to talk about just pure athleticism. I mean, not even because they're all productive. I mean, Kyle Pitts is starting to be productive too. Drake London's hyper productive, and he's a physical freak. But man, they just were held back last year by the corpse of Kirk Cousins, and it was a rough year. And Michael Penix, they didn't really. I don't know. They had everything in front of them. They had a great offense. They just didn't have the quarterback position right, which again seems to be a theme with these podcasts. Is they don't have the quarterback. Like last week we talked about. Oh God, who was it? It was the Packers because they had a great defense. The week before that, we were talking about the Texans, and C.J. Stroud was an issue. But gosh, they just needed to get that quarterback right. And of course, what the Falcons did to solve the quarterback issue is sign Tua. That fixes everything. So, what did you guys think about the Falcons last year? And it sounds to me like we already have a consensus on what they're going to look like this year. I'm not really big on them, but what do you guys think?
To be fair, I don't think going into last year their answer was going to be Tua. When they drafted Michael Penix, that was a weird move because they had just signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year deal. It was essentially a 2-year deal, but even so, I mean, they really wanted to lean into the Packers model. Sit a guy for 2 to 3 years, and I mean it's worked for the Packers. Yeah, I think the idea was one of them's going to work out. Either Kirk Cousins gives us a reason to keep going with him, or we have a top 10 drafted quarterback that we have on the shelf ready to go whenever he's ready. Yeah, I mean it is a shame to see they do have a lot of skill guys that would be really fun elsewhere, and they just seem like they're kind of a waste. Not gonna lie, I never understood the hype. When it came to the coaching carousel. It seemed like they were the second most attractive team, or at least Kevin Stefanski after John Harbaugh. Once Harbaugh got fired, it seemed like, okay, he's the cream of the crop. But then the next most attractive coach was Stefanski. And I'm not really sure why he just easily went to the Falcons.
I jumped on it.
I mean, again, with huge quarterback questions, is the roster really that loaded? I just don't know why he chose the Falcons. They just don't really seem to have pieces that you want to
Yeah, let me get out of this quarterback hell in Cleveland and then jump right into another quarterback hell in Atlanta.
But I will say, devil's advocate.
Okay,
I think good owner.
That's fair.
Good weapons, right? And it's just a matter of plugging and playing. I mean, they're not married to either of those guys. You have Matt Ryan in the football office as well, and I think those guys have a lot of respect for each other. And Matt Ryan, he's been to a Super Bowl. Whether we want to talk about 28-3 or not, it's not relevant. But MVP quarterback. He's been in the league for a while. He's seen a lot of stuff. He knows a lot of stuff. So I kind of view him. I would think that Atlanta on paper could be a good spot. It's just a matter of making sure that you got a same vision as a general manager, because there's a reason that Raheem Morris and their GM were only there for a couple of years. And it's because you signed a quarterback for the future and then you trade up to get a guy that probably didn't need to get. And I can't help but think that it really impacted Kirk Cousins, knowing that there's just this monkey on my back at any time that, this job isn't mine, versus having the confidence knowing, hey, this job is mine and this is what I need to do to lead this team, versus this is what I need to do to keep my job. I think certainly impacted him. But then again, it's the Falcons. 28-3. It happens. And I'm here for it.
I think they're a team.
You're totally You're totally right about valuing the owner part and even the front office, because I think we here in Arizona can see like what a bad owner can do, and it just feels like it doesn't really matter. Like good ownership, actually, there's probably a huge correlation between good ownership and then team success. I mean, look at the Eagles. I think they have great ownership, and they give whoever the front office, the coaching staff, whatever they need to succeed. And sometimes it's the ones that are like the quietest. But it seems like Arthur Blank, he seems to be really highly respected amongst the league. And no, I mean, I don't want to discount that. Yeah, I was definitely focused just more from like a roster standpoint. It doesn't really excite me.
I mean, and I don't blame you. And, I think the one positive, though, is with two left-handed quarterbacks, the receivers are going to catch the ball the same way. So there's that at least.
But it's still Atlanta.
So
it's still 28-3.
So if I remember correctly, their defense was not too great, and I believe that was the reason why they went out and signed a corner in the first round. And they, I believe, were didn't they draft their other starting corner's brother?
Yes, Avion Terrell.
Avion Terrell and AJ Terrell. So there'll be a corner duo brother starting combination in the NFL. I think that's pretty sick. Just as a good look. I don't know. I think that's a cool story. I know like there was the McCourty brothers, but one of them played safety and they weren't on the same team. And I don't know. But this is really cool.
And to be with each other, I think on draft day too that's pretty cool, right? I mean,
that was a pretty cool moment. I'm not gonna lie. Like that was pretty sick. But yeah, I do think that they're going to be a team where they're going to be in the quarterback hunt in the 2027 draft. I just don't see either one of these two quarterbacks really taking the mantle and running with it. And you know what? That's fine, because again, like these young playmakers they got, like they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Like Bijan's still in the prime of his career. He'll be useful on the next good Falcons team. London, wide receivers tend to age really well. And Kyle Pitts he was super young when he came out, so he's still got some good years ahead of him. So
we just signed an extension like a day or two ago.
Yeah. So I mean, I do think that they'll be in the market for a good quarterback in the 27 draft, and that will be a very lucky quarterback.
And I mean, you guys, like, I think the one thing that we were talking a lot about the Panthers and how they ended the season. The Falcons, I mean, again, they did beat the Rams, they beat the Saints, to play spoiler, beat the Bucks.
Bills.
Beat the Wait, who?
I think they beat the Bills too. Or did you say the Bills?
I didn't say the Bills. Did they beat the Bills?
Wasn't that like on like a Monday night?
Like early. Oh yeah. Monday Night Football earlier in the year. So I mean, like they can. I mean, there you go. I mean, maybe we're not giving the Falcons as much credit as they deserve, but I mean, you end the season on a 4-game winning streak. You play spoiler. You beat a team that was Super Bowl favorites and probably could be again this year with the Rams on a Monday. That's another Monday Night Football game too. So I mean, hey, don't put the Falcons on primetime game if you don't want to see an upset. But hey, maybe there's more reason for you. Or I guess Kevin Stefanski joining the Falcons.
Well, they were the 9th worst scoring offense in the league, and I just find that incredible considering the amount. I just looked at it. They're the 9th worst. Yeah, 9th lowest points per game. They averaged 20.8. They're right near you guys, actually.
How'd they win 8 games?
their defense was mid-pack, like middle of the pack, and they just happened to win, I guess, a bunch of one possession games, it looked like. I mean,
If you told me their defense was middle of the pack, given going into the season, maybe hopeful on Kirk Cousins, getting a little bit of what he used to be, and don't you think like maybe 10, 11 wins?
Now I'm looking at it right here. I mean, yeah, their points per game on defense was 23.6. Points per game on offense was a lot less. It was, like I said, it was 20.8. You guys, the Cardinals, were 20.9. So
okay, that's not necessary.
But just as a comp. Hey, look, well, the Cardinals had their spurts of good offense for a little bit. I mean, look, 20.9.
When we were down 21, we were a very good offense.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, so I think we can move forward with the Falcons. I think we got a good grasp of kind of what they are and what they're going to be next year. Let's move on to the next team, my favorite team in the whole NFL besides the Eagles, the New Orleans Saints.
Shut the front door.
I love them. I wore this shirt. No, I'm just kidding because
no, you're not. You're not kidding.
I am strictly interested in them just from fantasy perspective only. I just have Tyler Shuck, and I just thought he was a really good quarterback last year, and he ended the year pretty strong. But he should have won. He should have won Rookie of the Year over Tedero McMillan. No, I'm just kidding. Although he did win the Pepsi Rookie of the Year. I don't know if you guys knew there was a difference.
Tedero
which one's
won the Coca-Cola?
Yeah, which one's better?
No, the NFL one's the real one. The Pepsi one, I don't know. They just announced it. But anyway, the Saints, they were not too great. I remember last year they were going into the year with Spencer Rattler. And guys, I don't know if you guys were Rattler guys. I was never Rattler guys. It just seemed like a waste of time. God, and again, it's not just me having Shuck and I was waiting for him to finally get a start, but it was just watching Rattler play just felt like a waste of everyone's time, and it was rough. It was rough watching him.
But how intentional do you think that was? The Saints.
They were a top 3 pick. That. Yeah, I think they were a top 3 pick contender when we thought the draft class would be pretty good.
Yeah, I can't help but think, I mean, they kind of looked at that schedule and they were like, okay, I mean, Cardinals, sure, maybe a toss-up. Probably not, right? Cardinals obviously won, but then...
We had playoff aspirations going into last year, so to be fair, that wasn't a gimme for them.
Exactly, right? Well, that's why I kind of get, I'm like, they look at that, they're like, week 1, week 2, 49ers, week 3, the Seahawks, week 4, the Bills. Okay, maybe week 5, when you get to the Giants, things are a little different. 6, the Patriots. But the whole point I'm trying to make is, the Saints, I couldn't help but think, look at the start of the season, they're like, how good are our chances realistically? And do we have a shot? Let's just go with the veteran quarterback. He's earned this, quote unquote, and then obviously they knew. I think they knew what they had with Tyler Shuck. They just needed to wait because they didn't need to be too competitive in some of those games. And here they are, a great way to end the season. And I mean, I think they got the quarterback at least for this year, and a lot of other weapons that they drafted and signed in the offseason. So
look. Tyler Shuck is 33 years old. He needs to get out there. He's a really old rookie quarterback. No, he's not that old. He's one of those old.
He played like 7 years in college.
Yeah, like he needs to get out there, but he can't bench that guy. But no, they were interesting towards the end because they were kind of playing spoiler for a few teams, especially when Shuck started slinging the rock a little bit. I really like what I see in him. He throws a really good ball. I mean, I've watched a lot. Okay, I'm not fantasy goggling here. Like because if he sucked, I don't want him on my team. Like honestly, like I'm gonna be objective. I mean, if he's not good, I'm not gonna sit here and say like Anthony Richardson's great. He's on my fantasy team. He sucks. Thanks, Rous. But like I can be fair about this. I really like what Shuck did. I like the offense. Them signing Travis Etienne. I know he goes by Achan now, but that's going to take some time to get used to. And they still have the corpse of Alvin Kamara, and they still have that top 4 pick, Jordan Tyson. And if he stays healthy, that seems like a pretty young
top
core.
10, but
top 10 core, top 10 pick, and he wasn't the 4th pick, but he was really good. He's really good too if he stays healthy. So I really think they really set Shuck up for success. I heard Olave has like a blood issue or something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Let me just.
He's one hit away from his career being done. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bank my career on him. I
On
mean, he's a
Olave.
good player, but yeah.
Yeah. But it does look like their offense really was bad, like in terms of like the total season. I want to look at the numbers pre and post Shuck, because technically they had a worse offense as like a points per game than the Falcons. They were at like 18 points per game, so it was even worse than the Falcons. But I do think those really, really bad Rattler games kind of like bring down the average of that points per game. But I don't really, I don't know. I really hope Shuck takes the next step, because I do think that if he does, this team could be a 10-win team. I do think they're that good. I think he's that good. But I don't know. It's just going to depend on it. Because again, like quarterbacks can have second year regressions. I mean, there's nothing that's going to say like, Shuck's just going to be great next year. There's definitely situations where they don't end up being good. I mean, Travis Etienne, I believe, but he's kind of a health risk too, if I remember correctly. He's not always super.
His first
healthy.
season, he got hurt, I think. But
yeah,
I can't help but think after that he's been
pretty
fairly
healthy.
though.
Okay,
Yeah.
and he got
It was still that was the Urban Meyer year too.
Yeah,
that was his rookie. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was
nothing
like his whole
counts.
rookie year, maybe off season. He got hurt.
Is Taysom Hill still a free agent?
Yeah, Taysom Hill.
Oh, come on, that's the
gone.
one. You gotta look.
He's
Taysom
not in
Hill.
Denver yet.
I know, right? Bring him. Oh, that's Sean.
He's
Payton.
not in Utah again yet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I mean, that's somewhat close.
No, I like the Saints. Tanner, what do you think this team could be next year? Do you think they could be a 10-win team?
I think that might be a little generous. But I do love what they've done, because what they're going to give Tyler Shuck every chance to be their quarterback.
I love it.
They already had Kamara. They already had Olave. Again, Kamara's older, so you don't know how much left's there. Olave,
Bryce
again.
Lance guy. They get Bryce Lance.
Well, I was going to say, they drafted Jordan Tyson, 8th overall. They took Bryce Lance, I think, in the 3rd round.
Yeah, that's exciting.
The Saints are going to have some weapons. Can't really speak too much on their offensive line. I mean, that would kind of ruin everything if they're not good. But assuming that they could at least be like serviceable, Shuck's going to have an opportunity to cement that job. What's interesting to me is going into last year, they were supposed to be a pretty bad team. One of the top quarterbacks that we thought were going to be great was Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. Obviously, it didn't really turn out to be what we thought. But I think even the Saints maybe have been excited about him, because do you know who their offensive coordinator is?
His dad.
Doug Nussmeier. And so like that would have been kind of cool to see. I mean, we've seen brothers play together. We've seen brothers go 1st overall, each. But have we ever seen like a father-son duo? Coach. Like that would have been kind of cool. But obviously that didn't work out. He ended up going to the Chiefs in the 7th round. But I think everyone other than the OC, I think everyone's pretty happy with Tyler Shuck. It's a low investment. I think he was 40th overall, so early in the 2nd round. It's going to give them a lot of opportunities to build around them, spend some money, which, the Saints probably aren't too shy to do. They're a pretty aggressive team when it comes to team building. I think there's a lot of opportunity with the Saints. Well, we'll see with Shuck. I mean, he only played, 11-ish games or so. It's like clearly he was good enough to win the 2nd-tier Rookie of the Year award, but he did it in 11 games. So he did something right. I mean, I'm probably not going to pick them to win the division, but I think they're a fun team to keep an eye on.
I think they're kind of in that range for me too. Just a fun team to see, kind of check in on, see where they're at.
I don't see why they can't 8-9 wins. I don't see why not. I don't think they did enough on defense.
Young quarterback.
Like the offense, you anyone off their fantasy teams though, just not me. I would steer clear from Jordan Tyson. He's not going to have a great season at all. So Travis Etienne, I don't know. I don't think he's going to get the ball. I think it's Alvin Kamara again. I'm just kidding. I think they're going to be good.
I love Jordan Tyson. I have some serious concerns though, health-wise going forward.
Why?
He suffered a lot of soft tissue stuff. I thought he was clearly the most talented receiver. If this was Madden, you could turn injuries off. Easy. He would have been a top 5. I think he actually could have gone as high as number 2 to the Jets last year. I think he's that talented. But man, he's gone through a lot of injuries at ASU, his freshman year at Colorado. he looks like an Odell Beckham Jr. type to me, but Odell, at least in the beginning of his career, wasn't he relatively healthy? Like, I don't think he had any health issues, did he?
No, Odell was very clean physically. He didn't
Yeah,
have any
like
issues.
Tyson just doesn't have that, and
Hmm.
so yeah, if you could turn injuries off, I would love him, but you can't. So I don't. I mean, I'm rooting for him though because it's good for ASU, but yeah, I don't know.
I like Tyson too. I mean, I think he was probably
Would you
my.
take him third overall in a fantasy
No,
dynasty draft?
I don't know. I'm still thinking about. I still think
No,
about
no,
him
that's
and
not that's not
Mendoza
that
and
kind of
Garnett
podcast.
Tate. No, I'd see.
Take a
I feel
bold
pretty good about
stance.
all. Listen, I traded up to the third pick to have that opportunity to have that flexibility to make that pick. I don't know who I'm going to have available there, and I don't know who I want to
Well,
pick
you
yet.
know what? I have an opportunity to take him too, but you know what? I won't.
Well,
So what will
because
you do?
I'll just see who's best available at the moment. I'll just take my guy that I want. I know
Cardinal
that I
Tate.
didn't. I know that I didn't. I know that I didn't like the guy at 7. That's all I know. I didn't. I wasn't loving who I saw at 7, and I
Let me
saw
get you guys who's at 3.11.
that.
My one and only pick.
Oh my God, 3. Yeah, you might be fighting for Bryce.
You could have thrown it into last year's
Bryce
trade.
Lance. Yeah.
Should have.
Wow.
That's
All right.
seriously your only pick? Oh man, I should have asked for that.
I'm like the Rams. F them picks.
I went easy on you.
All right, let's wrap up with the Buccaneers. Everyone's preseason darling to win the division last year because of Baker and just their notoriety. I guess the past few years with this Baker Mayfield renaissance did not go as well as it was supposed to go. In fact, this kind of harkens back to the Crew podcast. I remember talking about those Buccaneers last year in the early part of the year. I remember John's segment about MVP, and you were pretty high on him for MVP at that point of the year.
Baker,
And then it just kind of tailspun from there, man. Like it was really rough. And me having Ibuka on my other redraft league, I was really excited to see Ibuka kind of start the year on fire because he was lighting it up in training camp and turning heads, and everyone was saying how polished he was, like he was like a 10-year vet out there as a rookie. And he started out so well and so slick and just had a lot of attention in the offense. And then I think Baker just had like a weird nagging injury and just he never really like turned into the guy who we saw the first 5-6 weeks of the season. And then Ibuka got hurt as well. He had a hamstring injury. And then everything else just kind of tailspun from there. Like I said, Mike Evans got hurt. A lot of injuries kind of derailed that team. And then Mike Evans tried to make a comeback to, valiantly fight for that 1,000-yard season streak, but it wasn't going to happen. And then it just kind of collapsed and gave the division away at the end, even though they did beat the Panthers that last week. But it didn't end up mattering. So, John, what did you see in the Buccaneers from their previous year and what caused the downturn the next year?
Yeah. It's interesting because, going into the season, I thought it was, sure and set that the Buccaneers were going to be division champions. I mean, again, I was preaching that maybe it's because some betting was involved or maybe not. It was good odds, but Baker Mayfield for MVP, I could see it. Some of those comeback wins, this team was clicking. Despite Mike Evans being, a longtime division rival, love that guy. Love seeing that guy play. I was thinking this might be his last year. There's just a lot of storybook, narratives that were around the Buccaneers that would have led me to believe that they would have won, been in the playoffs. But lo and behold, they found their way, with an upset, I guess, a couple losses towards the end of the year and losing to division rivals and getting knocked out of the playoffs. So I don't know, man. I think, all in all, when I look at this Buccaneers team, I just think they're kind of in limbo. They don't know if they're going to be re-signing Baker Mayfield. They just don't really seem like Todd Bowles is the long-term answer. It just doesn't. I don't really see it from him. I feel like there's a lot of excuses in the press conferences or him throwing players under the bus. I thought there was a lot of wake-up calls. So I truly thought that last year would have been his last year as head coach. But I guess, he and the general manager stay. They get a new offensive coordinator coming in. But then again, I don't know how much that's going to do to get this team over that hump. I think, like I said, we've talked about 3 teams now, and this being the 4th team. just looking at this on paper, I don't know if the Buccaneers made all the moves that they needed to win the division this year. They signed a couple defensive players from the Panthers. So that hurt. Ashawn Robinson and Christian Roseboom. Anyways, but I didn't really see them add too many offensive weapons. Chris Godwin, I guess, he's battled through some injuries. He's going to be the number one receiver. Ibuka, he's obviously great, but he kind of, had a strong start to the season and then kind of dipped off from there. Jalen McMillan, he had a good rookie year, but again, he was MIA last year as well. So I don't know. Rashad White left, so you got Bucky Irving, but Bucky Irving got injured last year as well. You get Kenneth Gainwell, but he's been on a few teams now. This is his third team in, I guess, like 3 years or whatnot. So I don't know, guys. Taryn, what do you think, man? Because I feel like this is I just feel like, again, the Bucs are just in limbo, and the record's going to show that it's going to be a 6, 7, 8 win team.
They're like the epitome of a stable organization. I mean, I think what they did after Brady is one thing, to win with Brady, one of the best of all time. But like once Brady retired, it felt like, okay, we're going to have to do a hard reset. They were a very old team at the time, like a lot of veteran guys. They didn't really reset. I think they continued the division streak with Baker. They got him for real cheap too. I mean, Baker has a weird career. He went first overall, and then he actually made the playoffs with the Browns, which is like Hall of Fame worthy. But then the Browns go in a different direction, and then he gets traded to the Panthers. I don't think he really had that much of an opportunity. Like, that was a weird situation. Gets picked up by the Rams like 48 hours before a Thursday night game, almost wins that game. And then he's obviously let go because the Rams had Stafford at the time. And then he's able to like kind of revitalize his career with Tampa Bay. It's kind of a cool story. I was a Baker hater in the beginning. I didn't really like his attitude. Like, he was kind of turned me off, but I don't know. He's kind of made like, oh, I have a chip on my shoulder now. Like, he's not as much of a jerk to me, but like I can appreciate kind of like where he's come from. I am pretty certain they're going to re-sign. You're right. Like, he's still eligible for an extension, and I'm pretty sure they're going to, get something figured out. I can't imagine them letting him walk. Not a fan of Mike Evans leaving. I mean, I don't know if that was specifically he wanted to leave or they didn't want him. Like, I don't know how that worked. Some teams can keep their Hall of Fame wide receiver, in town for their entire career, and I guess some can't. Not everyone's Larry Fitzgerald, but other than that, I don't know. I still have like faith in the Bucs. I just feel like they got a good foundation. I'll keep my bold prediction. I'll hold that off for a little bit because it may come from this team. I don't know. I still have faith. I think when they drafted Ibuka, I think that was a really shocking move. I think people liked him at the time, but look at Godwin, you look at Evans. Like, it didn't feel like they needed to draft him, but maybe we should have been able to forecast the Mike Evans move like a year in advance. I still like the weapons. You said they added Kenny Gainwell. I think he was actually the Steelers team MVP, so for whatever that's worth. The Todd Bowles thing is weird. It feels like he's been on the hot seat for like 3 years, so like I don't know how he keeps doing it. There's so much turnover at head coach. 25% of the league gets a new head coach every year, and yet he's still around. And it feels like it's an offensive-driven team. So if his background's in defense, kind of feels like he's the issue. Like, maybe if we could just but he's got good background on defense. I mean, it is a
sneaks
weird
out the division, and it's just good enough for him to just keep on keeping on.
I guess. Are they a real Super Bowl contender in my books? Probably not. I do like them drafting Reuben Bain at 15. I mean, I don't think anyone saw him getting that low. I mean, he's got the short arm issue, which some teams probably value more than others. As a Cardinals fan at number 3, I wouldn't have hated taking him. That means I'm pretty high in him. So getting a guy I would consider at number 3 at number 15 seems like good business to me. I do. There's definitely a ceiling with this team, though. I mean, I don't know if I see 13 wins, but I don't know. I trust the stability. I feel like they're not going to bottom out completely.
Yeah. I think, the defense got a lot better. They do have a defensive minded head coach. So really the pressure just is put on Baker Mayfield, the offensive line, and the weapons that are around him. I think he has some of it, but I just don't really have faith in this team or putting all of that onus on Baker, no matter how much I like him and respect him. Just I just feel like this team just doesn't really have much of an identity to them like they have in years past. And until they get a new coach in there that can really revitalize them and get that going, I do think they re-sign Baker. I mean, you can't let that guy walk. He's too many teams have let him walk in the past, and it's definitely come back to bite them. I guess minus the Rams maybe, but other than that, I'd be curious to see what happens. If the Bucks get off to a hot start, I might be coming back listening to this podcast, eating my words, but I don't think that's going to happen.
If they do make a change with Todd Bowles, I feel like this may be like the premier job. It seems like they got pretty stable leadership and ownership. Jason Light, who he came from the Cardinals, that's a little bitter. I mean, he's done really good keeping a strong roster pretty much every single year. This seems like it'd be a pretty attractive job.
I will abstain from talking about the Buccaneers ownership as a Manchester United fan that shares the same owners as a shareholder in my football club. But as it relates to the Glazer family, I cannot speak as a fellow owner. But let's just say that it would not be kind words shared on this podcast.
It's okay. Right. No one watches. So you got something spicy to go?
I don't know. 104 people do. What are you talking about?
No, they don't.
I like the filter with the Bucks, but not with the Falcons.
That's great. Yeah, it was interesting with the Buccaneers last year because they had a running back named Bucky Irving, who a lot of people were really excited about because he kind of like took the league by storm the previous year. And he had like a crazy first 4 weeks this season where he was doing great, offensive weapon, catching the ball, running the ball. I think he had like 30 fantasy points against the Eagles just because he had like 100 yards rushing and receiving. And then he had a mysterious shoulder injury, and we didn't see him for like basically the entirety of the season. And they kept saying like it was the weirdest injury, like handling of it too. They just kept saying like, yeah, he's not ready yet, but he's not ready yet. Yeah, he's not ready yet, but they wouldn't put him on IR. It was one of those situations where they wouldn't put the player on IR, but like he didn't show up for like 10 straight weeks. So it was really weird. And eventually he ended up playing, but again, just another one of those injuries that ended up like derailing their season. This isn't going to be my hot take of the division, but I if I were to add a second one, I do think Ruben Bain has a chance to win the Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. I really love that guy. He has come in with such a good mentality. Every time I see him like in like highlights or something, or like how he's like kind of approaching training camp, dude's all business. He is just eat, sleep, crap football. Like this dude is ready to take on the league, and I think he's going to have a great, great rookie year and great career. I think the arm length thing isn't going to be that big of a deal to him. I think his motor is going to more than make up for it, and I think he's going to have a great career. Really excited for Ruben Bain.
Clearly because he has shorter arms, he just strictly wins on power.
Yeah,
and I mean, to me, that's more fun than like the finesse guys. Did you see him on draft night though? Like, when they walk through that hallway,
grab the hat.
He looked so pissed.
Mean mugging. I'm like, that's the guy I want on my D line. Like, forget everything.
Exactly.
Else. Oh my god, that's the guy I want. But all right, so now we're at the part of the video where we start making our bold predictions for the division. I'll lead off. Tyler Shuck will have at least 30 touchdown passes. That's my bold prediction. I love Tyler Shuck. I think he reminds me of Nick Foles. And I think that if Nick Foles was a guy who could go 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in 12 games before Michael Vick kind of like got hurt and he came in for the rest of the season, I don't see why he couldn't. They want to throw the ball a ton in that Kellen Moore offense. I am very excited to see what Kellen Moore does in that system with all those weapons and Tyler Shuck kind of making the next step. And I think since he is older, he's a little more advanced. I think he's kind of already in the prime. He's not like some kid. So like he is ready to make that next step. And I really do think there's going to be a steep acceleration for him to kind of produce at a much higher level than even his rookie year. So that's my bold prediction. 30 passing touchdowns for Tyler Shough. Love it.
Well,
Shough everyone.
Well, Mr. John, I will piggyback off of your bold prediction because I also agree that the Saints are going to be passing a lot. I also think that Kellen Moore is going to run that type of offense where he's seen a division rival have an offensive rookie of the year. So he says, why can't my receiver win offensive rookie of the year? And Jordan Tyson will be this year's offensive rookie of the year, beating out Carnell Tate and being out Tanner's boy, Jeremiah Love.
All right, Tanner, what you got?
I feel like I should just finish it off with the trifecta. The Saints will just win the Super Bowl if everyone's doing this great. No, I guess I might be a little bit of a hater. I don't know. I mean, I still feel I think the Saints could be good.
I never said they were going to be good.
I just think, I think the floor is still, yeah, I think the floor is still pretty, potentially low. So, no, my bold prediction is actually going to be Baker Mayfield finishes in the top 3 in MVP.
Ooh,
why? One, I respect anyone who can actually change my opinion. I was not a Baker guy. I was a Baker hater early on, and I'm a fan now. He's never really, other than, yes, he got drafted first overall, so that should come with some level of security, but it didn't. He took him to the playoffs, and they got rid of him as soon as they had an opportunity when they thought they could upgrade. So, at what point in his career, other than, draft night, I guess, did he really feel like he was going to get some stability? I'm not sure he ever has. He was a walk-on at Oklahoma, and he won the Heisman there, went first overall. The Browns got rid of him, bounced around between the Panthers, the Rams. Now that he's with the Bucs, he's been on a relatively team-friendly deal. Again, these guys make millions of dollars. He's not struggling. But, in the context of being, a quarterback in the NFL and, one of the better ones, he's never really had that security. I do think they get a deal done. I hate that they lose Mike Evans because I can only imagine the Cardinals losing Larry Fitzgerald, at the same point in his career and him going and having success elsewhere. But I do feel like they still have a lot of weapons. I think if he's able to get some kind of 3+ year extension, paying him $50+ million a year, I think that's going to really open up even more confidence. Baker's probably a pretty confident guy now. I think that kind of security is just going to really open up, his potential. And I don't think it'll just be the first 4 or 5 weeks. I think he actually could have a lot of success for the entire season. And I think he'll finish in the top 3 in MVP.
Okay, there we go. I could see it. All right, cool. So that wraps up our NFC South rundown. So now it's the part of the podcast where we do our extra point. So now we're going to bring up a random thought that, we may or may not have. Does not have to be football related. So let's go ahead and finish up with the extra point.
The extra point.
I love our little sounds. All right. So I was actually on TikTok the other day, and I was listening to a little clip of a different podcast, kind of similar to ours. And it was funny. These guys were talking, and they were saying, this guy had a crazy take, and he said, he thinks that peak pasta beats out peak pizza on a 1-to-1 basis. The best pasta you can have beats the best pizza you could ask for. And it got a lot of people angry at him. But then I started thinking, I was like, is that actually true? Would you consider that a thing? The best pasta dish, you can need to think the seafood, the veggies, the mushrooms, the sauce, all that mixed together, maybe got a good side, but then you got the best pizza. And here's what I came down on. A 7 out of 10 pizza beats 7 out of 10 pasta, but 10 out of 10 pasta beats 10 out of 10 pizza. Your thoughts?
I would disagree. Pasta's too reliant on good sauce, and so if you're going to
I'm saying that's
if you're going to be that reliant on a good sauce, it's also the older I get, the more I like pizza. So I feel like I'm getting a younger craving. I don't know. Like pizza seems like the ultimate kid food. Like when in
Easier
doubt,
to
just
reheat. Pasta, if you have the sauce with it, it's gonna get all
I mean, we make
oily.
TV
No,
show.
you guys are taking it out of the. No, not reheating. If you have the best peak pasta,
If it's the best peak pasta, it should be able to be reheated. If I'm not going to eat all of it,
No one eats cold pizza or we eat cold pizza. We don't eat cold pasta.
I'll reheat pasta. I did
pizza
the other
man,
day.
give me like a 10 out of 10 pizza.
Over
Yes.
a 10 out of 10 pasta.
10 out of 10, yeah, correct.
I'm not the biggest pasta guy either. Maybe I just haven't had peak pasta yet. So if someone wants to feed me, then like go for it. But
Right.
no, I mean, these are the kind of topics I can get passionate about.
Yo, can I give you guys one real quick?
What's
Go
up
for
for your
it.
extra point? Yeah, go for it. What you got?
Guys, so this is actually very timely with the World Cup going on and having the privilege of being in attendance for the U.S. versus Australia game in Seattle, Washington on a couple Fridays ago. But guys, it was a conversation that occurred during the wait in line with my fellow Aussies as we are enjoying some beverages and walking and chanting our way into the stadium. And with all the inflatable kangaroos that the Aussies were holding, somehow, some way, a conversation came up where who would win in a fight? A kangaroo or an American bald eagle?
Oh, kangaroo, easy. Eagles are one of the stupidest animals in the animal kingdom.
Are you just saying that?
So you're
No, I heard it on the internet. I saw it on the internet.
All right.
They're
I'm gonna
one
look
of
it
the.
up
They're
on
one
the
of the
internet.
dumbest.
Are Eagles
Like
stupid?
from an intellectual standpoint, Eagles are very dumb.
Oh wow, it does. Yeah. Okay.
No offense to
Guys,
Swoop.
whoa. All right. Well, let me set a scene for you real quick.
Huh.
It's a desert scene. Sunny
Okay, this
skies.
is prime kangaroo territory. Oh, this
Listen,
is
wait.
it gets better. The kangaroo it's looking. Where's that eagle? The eagle's coming for me. Where is it? It can't see, but it sees the shadow hovering right above it. Hiding behind a cloud is this big, strong American bald eagle. Then out of nowhere, flying 200 miles an hour. If you guys have seen the Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter, you might know what I'm about to go with this. Comes claws at that kangaroo. The kangaroo can't see, diddly squat. Eagle comes back for more. Kills kangaroo. Has the talons, has the beak, but more importantly, has the advantage of the sky.
Yeah, I really do think.
I feel like your patriotism's really showing, and I can
I
appreciate.
feel like your unpatriotism's definitely showing.
No,
Look.
I got to go Eagles here. Go.
Oh,
Birds,
well,
first of all.
shocker.
No, I really think they have the high ground. They have the whole sky, and they have
Anakin,
speed and a talent advantage. What exactly are kangaroos going to do, Tanner? How?
Go one-on-one with a kangaroo and see what happens.
Yeah, he doesn't
They could
need
kill
to.
you.
He
Eagle
can
could kill
come down,
us.
dive down from like the sky, have their talons out, and just whoosh, and just slice them. Like what is the kangaroo going to do again? What, he's going to catch him in his pouch? He's going to be like,
Could, if he wanted to.
like, what's he going to do?
Have you
I
seen
will
that?
say,
deal?
I do love a good little kangaroo versus kangaroo fight, man. Those guys are kicking each other, clawing, punching, like that. Those are the videos I can get behind.
No,
They're-
they're very athletic looking creatures, and I'm sure.
Oh,
in a ground,
that's so
in a ground and
disrespectful.
But the eagle is a completely different warrior. Like they have access to a completely different realm, and have the speed advantage too. And again, like the lethality of their claws and beak. Like I don't see this being really a hard fight at all for them.
Do we trust AI to like resolve this, or
Don't check AI. We've checked that as a source, and it's not
okay?
very accurate.
So confirmed, kangaroos win.
It just goes to show you that AI doesn't know everything. So be careful where you put your trust and faith.
No, I'm going with AI doesn't know everything. I'm going with the Eagles, man. Go Birds.
Would you take
I
an
can't.
eagle or a panther?
Panther? Yeah, Panther.
Wait, now why? What?
Quicker, cat-like reflexes. It's going to smack that bird coming at him.
Well, according to John, a whole nother dimension. Like it's the same
Kangaroo.
thing. It's a ground first.
No.
Kangaroos are out in the
aren't
desert. Panthers are going to be in the tree. They're going to be hiding. They're going to be climbing. They're going to be
I think
pouncing.
Panthers would be more flexible and
You put my kangaroo in a desert. We can't.
Wasn't that
We
its
gotta
terrain?
keep the panther in the desert.
No, no, it's in its natural terrain.
Why would
Okay,
a
we'll
panther
put
be in a
the,
desert?
Okay, then let's put a kangaroo in the sky. Like,
well, and then
That
it'll
would be
die. It'll
crazy.
fall.
why?
That'd be
Why aren't we
crazy.
putting the?
Sounds like you just killed it. Sounds like
They're fighting on a cloud
what
on
is
an
this, Smash
airplane.
Bros? Super Smash Brothers.
Hey, there's your next movie, Kangaroos on a Plane.
All right, Tanner. What's your extra point? You got more Sorsby. You gonna defend Sorsby again for the fourth straight week?
Well, I would, but there isn't new news on there, is there?
Oh, I don't know. You can keep defending.
I
your
will
guy.
say, it seems like, look, and I don't mind being on an island of my own. Like, it seems like I haven't done the best job of convincing people. I will say, and this is not my extra point, by the way, but it feels like people are taking the wrong conclusion, and maybe I did a bad job of laying out my argument. I'm just my bigger question with the Sorsby thing is, what's the purpose of a supplemental draft? I haven't got a good explanation as to why we can host a supplemental draft for other guys and not him. I mean, we can still lay a suspension onto Sorsby if we wanted to, but like, I feel like this is kind of picture perfect. Guys who were deemed ineligible too late in the process, and guys who didn't make a decision to like go pro. I just feel like this is literally what it's designed for. But anyways, that's it.
Can't gamble on your own teams.
Yeah, the conversation got turned into like it got me going pro player gambling somehow. So
It's not a bad argument. I see what you're saying, but there's just a line in the sand, and you can do a lot of things in the NFL.
It's an arbitrary line, and that's where that's where my criticism is.
I don't disagree.
But my actual extra point, it's not as fun as your guys's, but something that I got, we all have some connection to. This morning we got news about former Titans running back and Cardinals running back too, Chris Johnson, getting diagnosed with ALS. I mean, came out of left field. I guess most of this stuff's never anticipated, but he went to ECU. He originally set the 40-yard dash record, which is always a cool record to be like. That's something, if I could choose one thing to have a record of, is probably the 40-yard dash. He was awesome with the Titans. Ran for 2,000 yards when, 7 guys maybe at the time did it. He actually, that same year, he has the record for all-purpose yard, like all scrimmage, or like including like passing yards as well. So one of the best seasons of all time. He was part of the greatest Cardinals team of all time, even though he didn't get to participate late in the year. He was on that 2015 team. I don't know. It's just it's really frustrating, and it's unfortunate. Kind of exposes our vulnerability. Just no one's really safe from a lot of this stuff. So had me thinking. He was an awesome player, but really unfortunate to hear that former Pirate, or I guess for anyone, but gets diagnosed with something like that.
And see, it just like it's really it's sad because it takes something that his body, his ability, his God-given ability was something that was truly special, something that not many players in the league's history ever achieved. I mean, his speed was one of one from the running back position, and you give this man a disease earlier than most people would contract that disease or get that disease, and it takes away that ability. Now, I mean, he wasn't playing, he's not playing anymore, but like, it's just a shame because there's a level of pride there to him. Like that's his soul. You know what I mean? That's what he did so well. He was a running back based on lightning fast speed, and that disease literally saps you of all basically your bodily autonomy. And that's just horrifying that it happened to someone. And to anyone, but like to not just him, but like someone so young. I remember I saw. There was a preview. I was watching TV. It was Saturday, and I was concerned because there he said Michael Strahan sits down with Chris Johnson, NFL running back, Monday morning, and I was like, and then like the lead in was like, "What do you want to tell us today, Chris?" And I was like freaking out because typically we get our news from like Twitter. We kind of hear leaks about things well in advance. So I'm like, there ain't no way I'm gonna hear something on Good Morning America Monday morning that I probably haven't heard from some agent leaking this information 2 weeks prior on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like we usually know about this stuff well before it hits TV channel stuff. You know what I mean? Like we see things on Twitter before it goes on ESPN. So when I found out that it was ALS, oh my God, like that. First off, he was able to like keep that hidden for so long. And because they're the world, the world's a place where people find out crap and put it online. It just sucks, but that's true. You know what I mean? You don't really have that level of, I guess, privacy to where you can just keep that something secluded and then announce it. So at least from that perspective, I'm glad he was able to make that announcement. It wasn't some like skeevy, like, I don't know, paparazzi guy taking photographs of him in a compromising position. So at least he was able to announce it with some dignity. But yeah, I feel awful for him and his family, and gosh, that disease is awful. And I really hope they find some sort of cure in the next, couple years, because that's a disease that really is terrible.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking a little bit before we hopped on, having worked for the university and the athletic department, especially during the time when Chris Johnson was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, ECU Hall of Fame. Had the privilege of hanging around him on the golf course, and maybe at the bar and a few other places, but awesome guy to be around. One of my favorite football players growing up, an East Carolina football fan as a kid. So, I mean, plenty of memories watching that guy play and represent the Pirates. And I only applied to one college coming out of high school, and it was ECU. And he's certainly part of that reason that helped, fandom sparked with family, but he kept that legacy going for us and allowed me to just really appreciate what he could do. And NFL, I mean, that dude was a beast. So wishing him and his family all the best. And yeah, I mean, Tanner, John, I think you guys said it best, but I think the biggest thing, just in terms of my extra point, building off of that, would be, just reminds us, as cliche as this may sound, live life to the fullest.
Yep.
Call the people around you, and just, you never know when it's going to come, but all you can put in is, a good effort and a great attitude every day that you live life. And, it's amazing the life that we all get to live and how fun it can be when, you treat people the way you want to be treated. And I can just say, don't want to act like I know Chris Johnson, CJ2K, like we're best buds, but my interactions with him, that dude was dapping me up. We're having a good time. We were laughing. We were chilling. And I certainly saw a lot of life left in that young man, and certainly sad to see.
Mm-hmm.
Talk but about on a brighter note.
Yeah.
Let's talk about pasta and pizza.
Yeah. So yeah, he was definitely he is a legend in ECU Titans. I mean, could you argue, maybe he has a shot at the Hall of Fame? I mean, you could argue that for a 5-year period, there was no running back in the NFL that was as electric as him. I feel like it's one of those situations where, like, he may not be in the Hall of Fame, but you may not be able to tell the story of the league without Chris Johnson. I mean, again,
that's my rule. I like to keep the Hall of Fame as more of like a museum, and using that, like, again, he's like one of eight now. Like, not many guys have run for 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
How can you tell the story of the NFL without Chris Johnson?
I don't know if you can. I mean, he was the fastest, most electric running back for a good 5-year period. I mean, he was amazing. So, gosh, sour note to end on. But you know what? I really love the pod. And, you talked about, John, you said kind of living life to the fullest and, just calling your people. And you know what? Hey, at the end of the day, that's why we called you, dude. You know what I mean? Because we knew you'd be the best guy to come on for today. And, it was really fun to bring you on. And, we really hope to, bring not just you, but like all the guys that we've had on these past, going on 7 weeks. Like, we don't want this to be just a summer thing. I mean, we would love to have people come on throughout the season and, kind of like what you guys did with your podcast and, kind of gave us a model for that. It's going to be a really fun season. We can't wait. I mean, we are wrapping up soon. We only got 2 more divisions. We got the West and the East. We got the Cardinals and the Eagles division. We made that purposeful so we can save those to the last 2 weeks, and then we can start moving in on the training camp. I know we got some training camp dates lined up for some teams. I don't know exactly how much information we'll be able to chat about training camp because, it typically kind of gets a slow ball rolling. But
Eagles versus Patriots, we got some scrimmages.
We got a joint practice.
The Super Bowl is about to take place.
Yeah, so Rous, if you didn't know, the Eagles and the Patriots have a joint practice in training camp. And, AJ Brown's situation is going to make that a really big deal. So we're
The Vrabel, Rossini. There's a lot of situations.
I might have to fly up there.
I got the Patriots in that scrimmage.
Oh no, Hugh's not letting him get an inch open. He ain't giving him an inch of
I got Nick
separation.
Foles in that scrimmage.
Nah, but so it's gonna be a fun week next week. Tanner, we
Eagles Panthers, they play this year, right?
We do in Philly.
Okay.
I was
So,
hoping
Rouse,
it'd be
keep your
in
phone
Charlotte.
up.
After the bye week 6.
Yep, you are one of 4 teams we play after the bye. It's fun.
You're not
stuff.
bitter.
Fun stuff.
Well, keep your phone available.
Yeah. But hey, it's gonna be a fun next couple weeks. And Tanner, at some point, we gotta start thinking about our bet pods. We gotta start thinking about our over under season pods and getting those season long parlay pods up. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna start putting those betting lines out and thinking about.
Oh, you sure are pro gambling all of a sudden. Jeez.
Oh, hey, it's fine if I do it. Tanner, last time I checked, I'm not in the NFL. Despite my
not yet.
Hey, you know what? If they keep seeing my TikToks of me running 100 minutes straight, I might find me a spot. I might find me a spot.
Boy, you look like you can run that football out to Mr. Referee. Would you like to?
I'll be the ball boy.
We can make your wish come
Can ball
true.
boys gamble?
It's a great question.
Probably not. I feel like if you have any employment or involvement in the league, you can't. And this comes from working in college athletics, where if you were, and this kind of goes back to the Sorsby thing, but if you worked in college athletics, you were not allowed to gamble on any sport that was also, I guess, regulated or administered through the NCAA. So I could bet on like horse racing, NASCAR, but technically couldn't put money on fantasy football.
So
I never did.
Allowed. Wow.
Never. No.
Never once.
So I guess it goes to show you the football players can't do what just the fundraisers can't do either. So there you go.
All right, you guys. Well, this was a fun pod. Let's wrap up. I had a blast. Tanner, did you have a blast?
It was okay. No, this was awesome.
Rouse, did you have fun, man?
If it's okay with you guys, I'd like to come back and talk to you soon.
Of course.
You're more than welcome to.
Anytime. Well, guys, as always, I'm Tanner. That's John. And that's Yahoo. And this was Birds Coast to Coast. Later.